My name is Melissa Hurley. I'm 34 years old. 6 years ago, my husband died in a car accident on black ice. Our daughter was born 3 months early, fighting for her life in the NICU. I needed $38,000 in 4 days, or they'd transfer her to a facility 200 miles away from the doctors who knew her case, away from any chance I had to see her between shifts at the hospital cafeteria where I'd started working just to stay close. I called my parents 37 times in 2 days. My brother called me once. He said, "You're asking them to lose $6,000. Be reasonable. You'll get Nate's life insurance. You'll be fine." They went to Hawaii. I never spoke to them again. Until September 2025, when my brother found me. He had papers. He had numbers. He had one sentence that made my blood run cold. "Dad made sure you'd never forget what you did." They didn't know that I'd kept every receipt, every voicemail, every hospital bill with their names in the emergency contact section crossed out in my handwriting. And what they found out next would cost them everything they thought they'd won. February 12th, 2021. I woke up to silence. Nate had already left. He always left early on Fridays to beat the Charlotte traffic. Middle school teachers don't get to be late. I remember rolling over, seeing the empty side of the bed, still warm. His coffee mug was on the kitchen counter, half full. He'd forgotten his jacket on the chair. I was 28 weeks pregnant. Lily, we'd already named her, was kicking. I put my hand on my stomach and thought, 12 more weeks. Just 12 more weeks and we'd be a real family. My phone rang just after 6 that morning. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Ma'am, are you the wife of Nathan Hurley?" The voice was calm, professional. The kind of calm that means something terrible has already happened. "Yes. Who is this?" "This is Mecklenburg County Emergency Dispatch. There's been an accident on I-77 North near the Huntersville exit. Your husband's vehicle was involved. He's being transported to Atrium Health Carolinas Medical Center. You need to come now." I don't remember getting dressed. I don't remember driving. I remember the coffee mug on the counter. I remember thinking, he forgot his jacket. He'll be cold. The temperature that morning was 28 degrees. Black ice from the storm the night before. Nate's 2015 Honda Civic hit a patch at mile marker 16, spun out, slammed into the median barrier. I got to the hospital before 7. They wouldn't let me into the emergency room. A nurse, I don't remember her face, just her badge, Jennifer RN, put her hand on my shoulder and said they were doing everything they could. Less than an hour after the accident, a doctor came out. He was young, maybe 30. He had blood on his scrubs. He didn't say anything at first. He just looked at me, and I knew. "We did everything we could," he said. "The impact was severe, internal injuries. He didn't, there was nothing we could have done." "I'm so sorry. Is there anyone we can call for you?" I opened my mouth to answer. That's when the first contraction hit. I doubled over. The nurse caught me. Someone was shouting. I heard the word labor and the word 28 weeks. And then I was in a wheelchair, and they were running, and all I could think was, this isn't real. This isn't happening. Nate died 43 minutes after the accident. I went into labor less than 3 hours after he left for work. That afternoon, Lily Rose Hurley was born via emergency C-section. She weighed 2 pounds, 4 ounces. She was 12 weeks early. She didn't cry. I woke up in a recovery room, alone, no Nate, no baby, no sound except the beeping of machines and the fluorescent hum of hospital lights. A different doctor came in, a woman this time, Dr. Patel. She sat down next to my bed. Your daughter is in the NICU, she said. She's on a ventilator. We're monitoring her for brain bleeds and lung development. Mrs. Hurley, I need you to understand. Babies born at 28 weeks have a 90% survival rate, but complications are almost guaranteed. She'll need specialized care. Weeks, maybe months. She handed me a Polaroid photo. Lily was smaller than my hand. Tubes, wires, monitors everywhere. I couldn't see her face, just this tiny, fragile thing that was supposed to be my daughter. Can I see her? I whispered. Soon. You need to rest first. You lost a lot of blood during the C-section. That evening, someone from hospital billing knocked on my door. Mrs. Hurley, she said, I'm so sorry to bother you at a time like this, but we need to discuss financial arrangements for the NICU stay. The next morning, I sat in a windowless office across from a woman named Patricia. She had a folder, a calculator, a sympathetic smile that didn't reach her eyes. Your daughter's NICU care costs $9,800 per day, she said. We're estimating an 8 to 10 week stay. That's approximately $550,000 to $686,000 total. I stared at her. Your husband's insurance through the school district was Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. The policy had a maximum annual coverage of $300,000. Your C-section and emergency care have already used $8,500 of your out-of-pocket maximum. She pushed a paper across the desk. We need $38,000 by Monday at 5 p.m. That covers the first 5 days and the portion that insurance won't cover immediately. If we don't receive payment, hospital policy requires us to transfer Lily to UNC Medical Center in Chapel Hill. That's 2 hours away, I said. I understand. It's a good facility, but their NICU is less specialized. And with Lily's complications, what complications? Patricia paused. The doctors haven't discussed this with you yet? I haven't seen the doctors yet. I haven't even seen my daughter yet. She closed the folder. I think you should speak with Dr. Patel first. I'll come back later. But she left the payment schedule on the desk. $38,000. 72 hours. Later that morning, they finally let me into the NICU. Level 3 NICU. The most critical cases. 8 incubators. Lily was in position 4 by the window. I could barely see her through all the equipment. The ventilator, the feeding tube, the IV lines, the monitors tracking her heart rate, oxygen levels, brain activity. A nurse, Andrea, according to her badge, showed me how to touch her through the porthole openings. Just be gentle, she said. Her skin is very fragile at this stage. Talk to her. She knows your voice. I put my finger in Lily's palm. She grabbed it. It was just a reflex. Babies do that. I know that now. But in that moment, it felt like she was holding on, like she was saying, I'm here, I'm fighting. I started crying. The alarm on her ventilator went off. Andrea rushed over. Her oxygen is dropping. You need to step back, please. I watched them adjust her ventilator settings, watched the numbers on the monitor climb back up, watched my daughter fight for every breath. 2 pounds, 4 ounces, $38,000, 72 hours. That afternoon, I sat in the hospital cafeteria with my phone and my laptop. I'd started a GoFundMe page. I'd written the description 3 times, deleted it twice, finally posted something that felt true. My name is Melissa Hurley. Yesterday, I lost my husband in a car accident. Hours later, I gave birth to our daughter Lily at 28 weeks. She's fighting for her life in the NICU. I'm a substitute teacher with no family support nearby. Medical bills are mounting. Anything helps. Please share. I posted the link on Facebook. 87 friends. Most of them were Nate's colleagues, parents of students I'd taught, people I barely knew. Within 6 hours, I'd raised $3,240 from 41 people. I needed 38,000. I had 72 hours. I looked at my phone, scrolled through my contacts, stopped at Dad. I hadn't called my parents in 3 months. Not since Thanksgiving, when my mom had made a comment about Nate's teacher salary and how we should have planned better financially before getting pregnant. I pressed call. It went to voicemail. Hi, you've reached Roger Clayton. I'm probably out on the golf course or enjoying retirement. Leave a message. His voice was cheerful, relaxed, retired. Dad, I said, it's Melissa. Nate died yesterday. I had the baby. She's in the NICU. I need help. Please call me back. I hung up. A few minutes later, he texted, saw your call. Call you tonight. Busy right now. That evening, my mother called. Oh, honey, she said, I'm so sorry. About Nate, about the baby. This is just awful. Her voice sounded distant, distracted. Mom, I need help. The hospital needs $38,000 by Monday, or they're transferring Lily to a facility 2 hours away. I don't have that kind of money. Nate had life insurance, but it takes 6 to 8 weeks to process. I just need a bridge loan. I'll pay you back as soon as. Melissa, that's a lot of money. I know. I know it is. But, Mom, this is your granddaughter. She might not survive if they transfer her. Please. Silence. Let me talk to your father. I'll call you back tomorrow, okay? The call lasted less than 5 minutes. I know because I checked afterward. Less than 5 minutes was all the time she could spare. She didn't say I love you before she hung up. That was the first time I noticed. I called my parents 37 times over the next 2 days. 37. I kept a log. I don't know why. Maybe I thought I'd need proof later. Maybe I was just desperate for something to control. Most went to voicemail. Some were declined after 2 rings. A few my mother answered and promised to talk to Dad and call back soon. I left 19 voicemails. One of them, late on Saturday. Dad, please, I know you're there. I can see you read my texts. I'm not asking for a gift. I'll sign a promissory note. I'll give you collateral. Lily's oxygen levels dropped today. They said if she doesn't stabilize, she'll need surgery. Just please pick up. I was calling from the hospital cafeteria. I'd started working part-time that morning. They offered me a position restocking supplies, minimum wage, but it came with a 20% discount on meals. I needed to stay close to Lily. I needed to do something. Mid-morning on Sunday, my brother called. I almost didn't recognize Brendan's number. We hadn't spoken since Christmas. Mel, he said, I heard about Nate. I'm sorry. Thank you. But I need to be straight with you. Mom and Dad can't just pull $30,000 out of thin air. They're living on pension and Social Security. You're asking them to liquidate investments, pay early withdrawal penalties. Brendan, my daughter might die. Don't be dramatic. Babies survive the NICU all the time. You said yourself Nate had life insurance. You'll be fine in 2 months. I don't have 2 months. I have until tomorrow at 5 p.m. Then maybe you should call a bank or Nate's parents. Why is this our responsibility? I could hear background noise, laughter, a woman's voice. Where are you right now? I asked. What? I'm at. Look, that's not the point. The point is, are you at a restaurant? Pause. I'm having lunch with Courtney. What does that have to do with my husband is dead? My daughter is on a ventilator, and you're having lunch. Mel, that's not fair. I can't just drop everything because you're in crisis. I'm not asking you to drop everything. I'm asking you to help me convince Mom and Dad to loan me money that I will pay back with interest. Look, I gotta go. I'll talk to them. But Mel, manage your expectations. He hung up. I called 14 more times that day. 14 times the call was declined within 2 rings. Late that night, my mother texted, Melissa, stop calling. You're being unreasonable. We'll talk when you calm down. I was sitting in the NICU family room. Lily had stabilized, but barely. Her retinopathy was getting worse. They were talking about surgery, possible blindness. I read my mother's text 3 times. Unreasonable. I needed $38,000 to keep my daughter alive, and I was being unreasonable. I didn't sleep that night. Monday morning. The deadline was that evening. Brendan called early. Okay, he said. I talked to them. Here's the situation. I was in the NICU, sitting next to Lily's incubator. Her oxygen had dropped twice overnight. The nurse had told me to prepare for the possibility of brain damage. They have a trip to Hawaii leaving Friday, Brendan said. They've had it planned since last May. The deposit alone was $6,000 non-refundable. If they cancel now, they lose everything. I didn't say anything. Mel, are you listening? They're going to Hawaii. It's not just a vacation. Dad worked 40 years in insurance. This is his retirement trip. They're 65 and 63. How many more chances will they get? You're 28. You'll recover from this. They won't get another shot at Hawaii. Recover from this, I repeated. You know what I mean. Look, I'm trying to help here, but you need to see it from their perspective. Even if they gave you $6,000, you'd still be short 32,000. So what's the point? The point is showing up. The point is trying. That's emotional reasoning, Mel. I'm talking about practical reality. They can't solve your problems. All they can do is throw away $6,000 and ruin a trip they've been planning for almost a year. I looked at Lily. 2 pounds, 6 ounces now. She'd gained 2 ounces. The nurses said that was good. That was progress. Are you seriously telling me they're choosing a vacation over their granddaughter's life? Don't twist it like that. They're choosing not to throw money away on something that won't solve your problem. Call Nate's parents. They're her grandparents too. Why should our parents take the whole hit? I hung up. I called Nate's mother in Florida. She cried. She wired me $2,500, everything in their checking account. She apologized that it wasn't more. I called Wells Fargo. Denied for a personal loan. No proof of income. I looked up the trade-in value of Nate's car. $6,800. But there was still a loan balance of $4,200. Net, $2,600. I did the math. My checking account, $2,341. Joint account with Nate, $6,892. Nate's parents, $2,500. Car, $2,600. GoFundMe, $3,240. Total, $17,573. I needed $38,000. I was short $20,427. It was early afternoon. I had hours left until the deadline. I called my mother one last time. She answered on the third ring. Melissa, honey, I feel terrible, I do. But your father and we can't keep bailing you out. Bailing me out? When have you ever bailed me out? You know what I mean. We gave you $5,000 for your wedding. That was 7 years ago. And you gave Brendan $40,000 for his down payment on the condo. That was different. Brendan is financially stable. He paid us back. I'll pay you back, with interest. We just, we don't have that kind of liquidity right now. And frankly, Melissa, your tone is very off-putting. This is why your brother suggested we take some space. I could hear something in the background. A zipper. She was packing. You're packing for Hawaii right now, while we're on the phone. Melissa, my daughter is on a ventilator. My husband is dead, and you're packing for vacation. We'll check in when we're back from Hawaii, okay? Try to calm down. Everything will work out. She hung up. She hung. I sat there in the NICU family room, phone in my hand, and felt something inside me go very, very quiet. 4 days later, late at night, I was at home. I'd gone back to the house for the first time since the accident to pick up some clothes. Lily had stabilized enough that I could leave for a few hours. The Angel Fund for Preemies had approved a $15,000 grant. Emergency Medicaid was processing. We'd made it past the deadline. My email pinged from roger.clayton@gmail.com. Subject, re-emergency. I opened it. Email. Melissa, your mother and I have been discussing your situation. We feel terrible about Nate and the baby, but we also feel like you're not seeing the bigger picture. We worked our entire lives for this trip. Your mother has dreamed of seeing Hawaii since she was a little girl. When you have children, you sacrifice everything. We did that for you and Brendan. Now that we're retired, we finally get to live for ourselves. You asking us to cancel and lose $6,000 is frankly selfish. We raised you to be more resourceful than this. Nate had life insurance. You'll get $180,000 in a few weeks. You'll be fine. We'll send you $500 when we get home to help with groceries or whatever you need. Try to understand. We love you, but we can't just throw money away because you didn't plan ahead. Dad. The email was sent late at night their time. That was early evening in Hawaii. Sunset at Turtle Bay Resort. There was an attachment. I clicked it. It was a photo. My parents at the pool. My mother in a flowered dress, a Mai Tai in her hand. My father with his arm around her, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, smiling at the camera. The caption read, "First sunset in paradise." I stared at that photo for a long time. Then I hit reply. The middle of the night. I sat in the NICU family room with my laptop. I wrote the email in less than 5 minutes. I didn't delete anything, didn't revise. I knew exactly what I wanted to say. Email. Dad, don't send the $500. Don't call. Don't write. You chose a vacation over your granddaughter's life. I will remember that every single day for the rest of mine. You're not my parents anymore, and you're not her grandparents. Enjoy your sunset. Melissa. I hit send. Minutes later, my father replied, Melissa, you're being irrational. We'll talk about this when you're thinking clearly. I didn't open it. I blocked my father's number. I blocked my mother's number. I blocked Brendan's number. I unfriended all three of them on Facebook. I closed my GoFundMe page. Final total $8,100 from 63 people. I looked at my phone. My contact list had gone from 487 to 484. No more dad, no more mom, no more Brendan, just Nate's mother in Florida, and the NICU nurse station. I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Over the next few weeks, everything fell into place. The Angel Fund money came through. Medicaid was approved. I sold everything I could. My wedding ring for $3,200 at a pawn shop, Nate's laptop, the TV, furniture, his clothes. I cobbled together enough to bridge the gap. By early March, Medicaid kicked in. In May, after 89 days in the NICU, Lily came home. She weighed 5 pounds, 8 ounces. She was still on oxygen. She'd need glasses for the retinopathy, physical therapy twice a week, specialist appointments every month. But she was alive, and she was mine, just the two of us. Early April, the life insurance check arrived. $180,000. I sat at the kitchen table of our small apartment and stared at it for 20 minutes. I met with a financial advisor the next day. You're 28 with a special needs infant, he said. My advice? Pay off debt, buy a modest home, keep a cushion. Don't touch the principal unless it's for Lily's medical needs. I bought a small 2-bedroom house in Concord for $120,000. I put down $40,000 and took a mortgage for $80,000. The address was 1847 Maple Grove Lane. When the realtor asked for my emergency contact information, she said, "Parents?" "I don't have parents," I said. She looked at me strangely but didn't ask. I got a job as a medical billing clerk, $38,000 a year. It was ironic, I guess. Processing insurance claims, denials, appeals. I was good at it. In 2022, I took an online certification course in medical billing and coding, finished it in 8 months. In 2023, I got a new job as an insurance claims processor, $52,000 a year. Insurance, the industry my father had worked in for 40 years. Every day I processed claims. Every day I saw the codes, denial reasons, coverage gaps, out of pocket maximums. Every day I thought about $38,000. The years were quiet. I joined a support group for NICU parents. We met twice a month. I made 3 close friends. They became my family. Lily hit her milestones late, but she hit them. She walked at 18 months. She talked at 2 years. She needed glasses at 20 months. Physical therapy twice a week until she was 4. She was small for her age, fragile, but she was smart, so smart. When she was 3, she asked me, "Mommy, why I don't have grandma and grandpa?" You do, sweetie, I said. Daddy's mom and dad in Florida. They love you very much. What about your mommy? I paused. I don't have one anymore. Why? It's complicated, baby. She seemed to accept that. Every year on the anniversary of Nate's death, I wrote him a letter. I never sent them. I kept them in a box in my closet. 19 letters, then 20. In the 20th letter, I wrote, Nate, I wish you were here. You always knew what to do. I miss you. I miss having someone who loved me unconditionally. Lily does, I think, but she's 4. She doesn't know yet how hard this has been. I think I'm doing okay. I think we're going to be okay. I hope I'm making you proud. I folded the letter and put it with the others. 4 years passed. 4 years of silence. I didn't Google my parents, didn't check their Facebook pages, didn't ask Nate's mother if she'd heard anything. I built a life, small, quiet, just Lily and me. In September 2025, Lily started pre-kindergarten. I filled out the enrollment forms, emergency contacts, just me, Nate's mother in Florida as a backup. The teacher looked at the form. Just one local contact? What if you're unreachable? Then call 911, I said. I don't have anyone else. I dropped Lily off that first day, watched her run into the classroom, backpack bouncing. She wasn't scared. She was ready. I thought, we made it. I was wrong. The next evening, Lily and I were eating spaghetti. She was telling me about her day. She'd made a friend named Emma. They'd built a tower with blocks. She'd learned a new song. My phone rang. Unknown number. Scottsdale, Arizona. I almost didn't answer. But I'd learned over the years, unknown numbers were usually medical offices, insurance companies, things I needed to deal with. I picked up. Hello? Mel? It's Brendan. Don't hang up. I froze. 4.5 years. Not a word. And now his voice in my ear, like no time had passed at all. I have bad news, he said. My hand tightened on the phone. Mom and Dad are dead. I didn't say anything. There was an accident earlier this month. They were driving back from a beach vacation in the Outer Banks. Dad, the coroner thinks he might have had a heart attack. The car went off Bonner Bridge. They both died instantly. I looked at Lily. She was twirling spaghetti on her fork, humming. Mel, are you there? Why are you calling me? Because you're still their daughter, and there's an estate. We need to talk. I don't want anything from them. It's not that simple. Can I come see you? I'm flying to Charlotte this Friday. Why? Because there are things you need to know, things I can't explain over the phone. I should have said no, but I didn't. Friday, 10 a.m., Starbucks on Concord Mills Boulevard. Thank you, Mel. I'll see you then. He hung up. I sat there, phone in my hand, while Lily asked me if I was okay. Yes, baby, I said. Mommy's fine. But I wasn't fine. That night I Googled Roger Clayton obituary. I found it immediately. Obituary. Roger William Clayton, 65, and Barbara Jean Clayton, 63, of Scottsdale, Arizona, passed away on September 12, 2025, in a tragic automobile accident in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Roger retired from Clayton Insurance Services in 2020 after 40 years in the industry. He enjoyed golf, travel, and spending time with family. Barbara was a devoted wife and homemaker who loved gardening and photography. They are survived by their son, Brendan Clayton of Scottsdale, Arizona. A private memorial service will be held at a later date. Survived by their son, Brendan Clayton. Not survived by their children. Not survived by their son and daughter. Just Brendan. Even in death, I didn't exist to them. Friday morning. I got to Starbucks early, ordered a black coffee, sat in the corner booth where I could see the door. Brendan walked in a few minutes late. He looked older, grayer, still wearing expensive suits. Today it was charcoal gray, white shirt, no tie. He spotted me, raised a hand in greeting. I didn't wave back. He sat down across from me, put a leather folder on the table. Hi, Mel. You look good. What do you want, Brendan? Straight to the point. Okay. He folded his hands. How's Lily? Don't. Don't what? Don't pretend you care. You called about an estate. Let's talk about that. He sighed, opened the folder. Total estate value is $1.65 million. The house in Scottsdale is worth $890,000. Retirement accounts $520,000. Investment portfolio $185,000. Savings $55,000. He pushed a paper across the table. Estate summary. There's no will on file. Under North Carolina intestate succession law, the estate splits 50-50 between surviving children. You're entitled to $825,000. I stared at the number. $825,000. I don't want it. Don't be stupid. That's a life-changing amount of money. I don't want their money. Mel, come on. You have a daughter. Think about Lily. College fund, medical expenses. We're fine. You work as a claims processor making what, 52,000 a year? You're not fine. You're surviving. We're fine, I repeated. He looked at me for a long moment. Why do you care if I take the money or not? I asked. If I refuse, you get it all. Because it's complicated. Complicated how? He flipped several pages into the folder. It was a will. Last will and testament of Roger William Clayton and Barbara Jean Clayton. Dated July 15th, 2021. Notarized. Signed. I read it. Article 4, Section 2. We leave our entire estate to our son, Brendan William Clayton. Our daughter, Melissa Ann Hurley, is hereby excluded from any inheritance due to estrangement initiated by daughter's unreasonable demands and subsequent refusal of reconciliation. I read it again. Estrangement initiated by daughter. Unreasonable demands. So why am I here? I said. If this exists, you get everything anyway. Because this will was never filed with their attorney's office. I found it in Dad's home safe after the accident. Legally, if I don't submit it to probate, it doesn't exist. Why wouldn't you submit it? He paused. Because I'm not sure it's right. I laughed. I couldn't help it. You're not sure it's right? You told me in 2021 that I was being unreasonable. You told me to manage my expectations. You told me they were right to go to Hawaii. And now you're not sure? I was wrong, okay? I was trying to keep the peace. I didn't realize. You didn't realize what? That my daughter almost died? I didn't realize how bad it was. I told you. I told you she was on a ventilator. I told you I needed $38,000 or they'd transfer her. What part of that wasn't clear? He didn't answer. Why are you really here, Brendan? He turned to another section of the folder. It was an insurance policy. Prudential Life Insurance. Policy number 84733092156. Death benefit $500,000. Insured Barbara Jean Clayton. Beneficiary Brendan William Clayton. 100%. Policy effective date April 18th, 2021. I stared at the date. That's one day after I received Nate's life insurance check, I said. Is it? You know it is. I flipped back to the application notes. There was a section, Reason for Purchase. It read, Protecting Family Legacy for Financially Responsible Heir. Daughter estranged due to unreasonable demands. Son stable, trustworthy. I felt something cold settle in my chest. He bought this policy the day after I got Nate's money, I said slowly. He was watching me. He knew exactly when I got that check, and he made sure I'd never see a dime of theirs. Brendan didn't say anything. You already got the payout, didn't you? Yes. $503,400 with interest. So you have 1.5 million from the insurance, and you want another 825,000 from the estate. Mel, and you want me to sign a waiver giving up my legal claim so you don't have to fight me in court. He pushed another paper across the table. Waiver of inheritance rights. Here's what I'm proposing, he said. You sign this. You give up your claim to the estate. I keep the insurance money, which, let's be honest, Dad bought specifically for me. You walk away with nothing, but you also walk away clean. No fight, no publicity. No one needs to know what happened in 2021. I looked at him. You're threatening me. I'm offering you a clean exit, because if you don't sign, I'll submit the will to probate, and I'll make sure everyone knows the full story. That you cut off your dying parents. They weren't dying. They were on vacation. Over a trip they'd planned for a year. That you refused every attempt at reconciliation. That they tried to send you money and you told them to keep it. You'll look like the villain, Mel. And Lily will grow up knowing her mom chose pride over family. I stood up. I need to think about this. Take your time, but I need an answer by next week. The estate can't stay in limbo forever. I walked out of Starbucks without looking back. I didn't sleep for days. I read the waiver over and over. I almost signed it multiple times. $825,000. I could pay off my mortgage. $68,000 remaining. Lily's college fund, $200,000. Medical reserve, $150,000. Emergency fund, $100,000. Retirement at 45, $307,000. I wrote it all out. A list. This is what that money could do. Then I tore up the list and threw it in the trash. A few days later, I called a probate attorney. Free 30-minute consultation. I told him everything. Here's the thing, he said. If the will exists but wasn't filed, it's legally irrelevant. Without it, you're entitled to 50% under intestate succession. If he submits it now, you can challenge it on grounds of undue influence, lack of mental capacity, or improper execution. Could I win? Possibly, but estate litigation is expensive. $50,000 to $150,000 easily. It could take 2 to 3 years. And even if you win the emotional toll, what if I just walk away? Then he gets everything, and you get peace. The question is, what do you value more? I looked at the photo of Lily on my desk, 4.5 years old, smiling. She didn't know anything about my parents. She didn't know about Hawaii or the NICU or the 41 calls. If I fight, I said, what are my odds? 60-40 in your favor. But Mel, sometimes winning isn't worth what you lose along the way. That night, I wrote my 21st letter to Nate. Nate, I wish you were here. You always knew what to do. You'd tell me to take the money for Lily. You'd say pride doesn't pay for college. But I keep thinking about that email from Hawaii, the one where Dad said I was selfish, where he called me unreasonable. If I take this money, am I proving him right? Am I just like them, choosing money over principle? Or am I being stupid, throwing away Lily's future because I'm too stubborn to forgive? I don't know anymore. I miss you. M. I didn't send it. I put it in the box with the others. A few days later, I called Brendan. I want to meet again. Same place. Does that mean you've decided? Yes. I could hear the relief in his voice. Okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived with a waiver, a pen, a notary stamp. He'd thought of everything. So, he said, what's your answer? I talked to a lawyer. And? And he said I have a 60% chance of winning if I contest the will. His face changed. Mel, don't do this. It'll cost you a fortune. I don't care. You're being irrational, just like you were in 2021. No. In 2021, I was desperate. Now I'm just done. I pushed the waiver back across the table. Unsigned. I'm filing a formal contest tomorrow. I'll argue that Dad's will was made under undue influence, your influence, that he was grieving the loss of me, and you convinced him to cut me out completely. That's bullshit. I have emails, Brendan, from 2021, where you called me irrational and told them to take space. I'll submit them as evidence. I have call logs, 41 calls in 2 days, 19 voicemails. I can prove I tried. Can you prove they did? His face went pale. And one more thing. I'm filing a separate claim against Dad's insurance policy. Fraudulent application. He listed me as estranged without disclosing the reason was his own refusal to help during a medical emergency. That's material misrepresentation. Mel, wait. We can negotiate. Maybe I can offer you 200,000 from the insurance money. I don't want your money, Brendan. I want you to feel what I felt. Helpless, abandoned, alone. This won't bring them back. It won't change what happened. No, but it'll make sure Lily knows I fought, that I didn't let them win. I stood up. You're doing this for revenge, he said. I stopped, turned back. No, I'm doing this for justice. There's a difference. I walked out. So that's where I am right now. September 2025. The probate case starts next month. My lawyer says I have a good shot. Brendan's lawyer says I'm wasting my time. But here's the thing I keep asking myself. Am I doing the right thing? Or am I just like them, choosing pride over peace? $825,000 could change Lily's life. It could pay for her education, her medical needs, everything I've struggled to give her. But it comes from people who chose a vacation over her life. People who watched me call 41 times and didn't pick up. People who sent me an email with a sunset photo while my daughter was on a ventilator. And then, 4 months later, bought an insurance policy specifically designed to make sure I'd never inherit anything. Not because I didn't deserve it, because I'd embarrassed them, because I'd called them out. So I'm asking you, if you were me, what would you do? Would you take the money and move on? Build the best life you can for your daughter with resources that came from people who abandoned you in your darkest hour? Or would you fight, knowing it might cost you everything, knowing you might lose, knowing that even if you win, you'll spend years in court reliving the worst moments of your life, dragging your family's failures into public record? Is it worth it for principle, for justice, for the chance to prove that they were wrong and you were right? Or is that just revenge dressed up in prettier words? Leave your answer in the comments. Tell me what you would do. I'll read them. Maybe they'll help me figure out if I'm doing the right thing, or if I'm just becoming what I hate. Because here's what scares me most. In 2021, my parents chose money over family, and now I'm choosing a legal fight over financial security for my daughter. Maybe we're not so different after all. 3 months later, December. Lily and I are decorating our Christmas tree. She's almost 5 now. She's in pre-K. She has two best friends, Emma and Sophie. She can read 47 sight words. She still wears glasses. She doesn't remember the NICU. She doesn't know she almost died. She doesn't know about her grandparents. Not really. The court date is in January, a few weeks away. I don't know what will happen. Maybe I'll win. Maybe I'll lose. Maybe Brendan and I will settle somewhere in the middle. He keeps the insurance money. I get half the estate. We both walk away bitter. I've spent $14,000 on legal fees so far. My savings account has taken a hit. Every time I write a check to my lawyer, I think, this is money I could be spending on Lily. But I keep writing the checks because this isn't about money anymore. It's about the principle that when someone tries to take your dignity, you don't have to let them. It's about the principle that you don't get to abandon someone in crisis and then rewrite history to make yourself the victim. It's about making sure that when Lily is old enough to understand, she'll know that her mother stood up, that I fought back, that I didn't let them win. Mommy, Lily says, hanging an ornament on the tree, can we get presents this year? Of course, baby, we always do. But are we going to be rich? I pause. What do you mean? I heard you on the phone, talking about money. I kneel down next to her. We might get some money, I say. We might not, but either way, we have each other. That's what matters. Okay? She goes back to the ornament. I just want you to be happy. I look at her. This tiny person who fought so hard to be here, who survived when the odds said she shouldn't, who doesn't know yet how cruel the world can be. I am happy, Lily, I say. I promise. And it's true. Not because of the money, not because of the court case, but because I know who I am. I'm not the person who walked away. I'm not the person who stayed silent. I'm not the person who let shame and fear control me. I'm the person who called 41 times, who sold her wedding ring, who worked in a hospital cafeteria to stay close to her dying child. I'm the person who kept every receipt, every voicemail, every email, not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted to remember. My parents thought they could erase me with a signature on a will. Brendan thought he could buy my silence with threats. They were wrong, and whatever the court decides, whether I walk away with $825,000 or nothing at all, I'll know I stood up. I'll know I fought. I'll know that when they tried to rewrite the story, I had the receipts to prove the truth. Whatever that's worth, I'll take it. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment. Tell me what you would do. Tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. Tell me your story if you've been through something similar. And if you want to hear more stories like this, stories about family, betrayal, justice, and the hard choices we make when there's no good answer, please subscribe. Thanks for listening. My name is Melissa Hurley.